After multiple senior finance departures and an interim CFO, what concrete steps will you take in the next 6 to 12 months to stabilize staffing? And how would you clarify CFO versus town administrator roles?
You know, that's really a Board of Selectmen question. I don't know.
I'm only reading the questions I
Okay.
get. If you don't have any
I can answer it as a Board of Selectmen. It's going to be difficult.
No, then obviously we would want.
Would you agree?
I agree. I the Board of Selectmen is
Yeah.
not
Sorry.
No, don't, no
Sorry,
need to
maybe the hard
apologize
one,
to me. I didn't do it.
Well,
No, but I think that there is. Yeah, if you have
Okay,
something
you
to
know
say
what, we can
about it.
answer it. That's fine.
well,
Sure.
yeah, I think I was next. So
Okay.
I think,
Yeah.
well, actually,
I'm first.
First was Kim.
Yeah. Okay, so can you repeat the question then?
Yes.
Try to answer it.
After multiple senior finance departures and an interim CFO, what concrete steps will you take in the next 6 to 12 months to stabilize staffing? And how would you clarify CFO versus town administrator
Yeah.
roles?
So, you know, I'll try to answer it as a candidate, but also from my personal perspective, and also as a member of both the town administrator and the CFO search committee member. You know, it was certainly not anything anyone expected to lose both the controller and the CFO, and we're losing our town administrator all at the same time in a year where we've had lots of challenges. So what can I do? I can promise you that the CFO and the town administrator search committees are doing our absolute best to make sure that the next CFO and town administrator are the best that we can find in the tri-state area. We're actually going to expand it, I think, to a national search at this point. You know, we can use the temporary CFO. We met him on Zoom. We Board of Selectmen sat back, but we got to hear from him, and I think at our next Board of Selectmen meeting we will get to meet him and ask our own questions about what's going on as it relates to the Board of Selectmen. You know, there's a discussion that I think wasn't had and needs to be had about the town administrator. As we see what's transpired over the last few years, there's been a lot of issues with that role and the CFO and who's doing what. We did expand the job description of the town administrator to include more financial experience, and it was quite funny to me, at least, and I think others in the room, when our current town administrator says he doesn't even have the skills to qualify for the job that we are searching for at this time. But we've learned a lot. Again, over the last few years, Dawn has only, or the previous CFO was only here for a few years as well. I've been on the Board of Selectmen the entire time that both people have been in office and have learned, you know, the different aspects of their jobs and what we require as Board of Selectmen to get things done appropriately. We have really struggled with that this year, and I can assure you that when the candidates come in, that we are asking them the really hard questions about how they would deal with the issues that we've had, the issues that we foresee, and to make sure that they will work collaboratively with the boards and run our departments to the best of their ability.
Do you have anything to add?
Sure. So I think we partially answered this when we were talking in the first question about the CFO. So again, the direct answer is the Board of Selectmen oversees personnel and oversees hiring and oversees terminations. That's the direct answer. But more broadly than that, the Board of Finance is there to provide support, right? And so there are certain instances over the last 2 years since I became chairman when there's some gaps that needed to be filled to help our town administrator and to help our CFO. I mentioned the debt service earlier. We talked about the revaluation process. When I first became chairman, my very first month on the job, Wilton saw the highest spike in its grant list ever. And the resources just weren't in town hall to figure that out. So I rolled up my sleeves and I did it, right? We're not involved in overseeing staff, but when I see a problem, I run in there, I fix it to the best of my ability, and that's what I will continue to do going forward. Now, as it relates to working with either the CFO or the town admin has been, I want to say he's attended almost all of our Board of Finance meetings. Even now, I know he's transitioning out, but he still attends, so that is oversight. We talk with him directly, the same with the CFO before she departed as well. So it is a partner of ours. All I would say is the decision about whether or not to have a town admin or CFO and a CFO, my view is both roles provide tremendous value. As we think about the experience that Wilton's had recently, I think there's a way to bifurcate some of the responsibilities so there's no duplications. Again, that is a role of the Board of Selectmen, but historically the Board of Finance has been willing to provide the resources necessary to fund that. And I want to underline that. Like, I consider myself a proponent of fiscal responsibility. I really do not like taxing people. So if I have to, it better be with a good return in mind. And last year, when we heard about the issues in the finance department, we asked our former CFO, do you need more money? Do you need more resources here? What can we give you to make this work? And she told us it was fully staffed. Well, she told us the money was there to be fully staffed. It actually wasn't fully staffed, but she told us the money was there, and then we approved the budget. But we are willing to do what it takes to support our friends and colleagues on the Board of Selectmen and in town hall.
Ms. Roberts?
Okay, thank you. I think, again, I agree with everybody up here that it's not the Board of Finance's job to hire, the town administrator and the CFO, and now 2 CFOs. I assume we're going with the Board of Ed one, which we have, and a new Board of Select one, town one. I guess just the question, though, I think was about how the town administrator and the CFO overlap, and do we need them each? I think that was the question.
How would you clarify the CFO versus town administrator roles?
Okay, right. So it's not my job it's none of our job to clarify that, but in kind of digging around on the website, because it is a cumbersome website that's clunky and it's hard to find stuff, but going back to 2022, the former first selectwoman did do, and I don't know if I'm allowed to use visual aids, but she did do a really good job of laying out kind of where she was before there was a town administrator. This is everything that she did. And then if she got a town administrator, this is what she would do, and this is what the town administrator would do. So I know you probably can't see it, but this box is the town administrator that would answer up to the first select woman, and then this is everything that the town administrator would do. So it would basically chop this chart in half. And I think it's just important to realize that, because the point of the town administrator, when Lynn Vanderslice proposed it back in 2021 or 2022, was so that it would elevate the first select person up a level so that that person could focus on working with WestCog, and I think it's Southwestern Connecticut Regional Planning Committee or something like that. But the whole point of the town administrator was to let the first select woman, free her up to work on behalf of Wilton at a regional and state level, which would bring us more benefits, such as in, I think, garbage, like working together to lower the costs on garbage removal and where that would go and things like that. So I think my opinion, and again, it has nothing to do with the Board of Finance, but I think the town administrator is a necessary job, and I do think the first select person should be doing that, and hopefully they are. I'm not sure if that's happening or not. But, and I guess, and then the town administrator would do all of this and have 2 CFOs reporting up to it. So I do think it was actually laid out really well, but I think somehow along the road, nobody bothered to adhere to it anymore. I think, not nobody, but it just got a little loose. And so that's my opinion. And I just think if there's more communication with the Board of Finance, that especially with the material deficiencies in the fiscal year 2024 financials, that we were made aware of that, I think, in early January, that should have been a laser focus. And it seems like, and I get it, I hear you loud and clear that you asked Dawn if she needed more money, and she said no, everything was fine, but it just seems, it's unfortunate that everything was not fine. So that's all I have to say.
Mr. Van Hook?
Again, I agree with the other candidates here. It's not our day-to-day responsibility. But if I could advise the Board of Selectmen what to do, one is make sure that the job recs are very well defined. You do have to bring an HR expert to do it. Town administrator and a good CFO could be able to save us more money than we spend on them. A town administrator, I believe, or a town manager is a profession. and we should be looking for someone who has those professional credentials, whether that be, say, an assistant town manager at a town larger or about the same size, or a town manager administrator from a smaller town. But this is a profession, and we should be looking for someone professionally. It's my understanding also that the Board of Ed is looking to get their own CFO. There used to be 2 positions, and we're looking to split. So the CFO for the town will be now reduced to 1/3 of the budget that they used to be responsible for, being that about 2/3, am I correct, Matt? About 2/3 is part of education. So again, the CFO, we should be looking for maybe not someone as experienced as the last one, because it's theoretically a smaller job, but they are still 2 distinct jobs. And I will trust the Board of Selectmen to handle this situation properly, and maybe even hire a professional recruiter to get the people we need, because again, a person, we'll spend a lot of money on a recruiter, but getting the right person should save us more than it'll cost us.
All right, a number of these questions are...
Sorry, can I just jump in?
Absolutely.
I agree with everything Eric said. To go back to that Kari had said, just to set the record straight. So the audit we did not get in January. The audit was finalized in April or May. Once it was finalized and we saw the material weakness, we immediately had a conversation with our CFO. We then, at that point, proposed a follow-on session. I think it was in June, at the June Board of Finance meeting. We're going to have a follow-up for how to move forward and correct the material weakness, which was related to journal entries. It was following that point that we were going to set up the process review committee, which was scheduled to start in July. And then, as we all know, our CFO was no longer our CFO. So the timeline started a little bit later, but the Board of Finance took immediate corrective action. That corrective action is ongoing. We had our first meeting with the interim CFO last night, which was the first time that our CFO was introduced to the town. We asked him directly about the material weakness. He told us that he is in the process of correcting any mistakes. He's not anticipating any further issues going forward, at least on that front. So we are focused on it and well ahead.
Fair enough, and you know better than I on that. I guess though, just in reading Good Morning Wilton today, their article, they said, I thought the new, I hope I got this right, that Mr. Santafanti, the interim CFO, said that we should expect material deficiencies on the fiscal year 2025 audited financials also, correct?
Is that a question to me?
Yeah, well, that's what he said. He did say that. I think if Good Morning Wilton quoted him correctly, then we will have had a material deficiency for fiscal year 2024, and he said that he is, I forget his words, I could look it up, I have it in here, but he said that in all likelihood, we should expect material deficiencies in the fiscal year 2025 audited financials also.
So I was at that meeting.
Yes.
Based on what he said, so yes, there are issues that we're working through. His comment was in the context of we didn't have a CFO for a month and a half, right? And so he's coming in there to fix things. So yes, there are still issues that Town Hall and the Finance Department is working through. But you had made a comment before that we're not focused on it. My comment was we are very focused on it, laser focused. And look, to the extent that some of the issues from last year continue, we'll just make sure we have the right resources in place to fix it. And we're committed to working with our partners in the Board of Selectmen and in Town Hall to make sure that happens.
Nice. One last thing, I'm not trying to criticize Board of Finance. I guess personally, I think the oversight, again, you had a CFO, and then you had a town administrator, and you had a first select person. And together, those people's salaries is a lot of money, and I don't understand how that 3 layers let it slip through, I guess is more my issue.
That's a question for the first selectman.
Yes, I understand that. I just wanted to point it out that
I'm not planning on it.
it's a lot of salaries and for a lot of stuff slipping through the cracks. And I understand that that's not Board of Finance. I get that.